Hey folks, if you're watching this channel, there's a good chance you're familiar with Jubilee's Surrounded. You've no doubt seen thumbnails like 20 woke liberals versus 1 conservative, 20 Christians versus 1 atheist, 1 random normal lady versus 20 guys who think she's subhuman, that sort of thing. I don't like Jubilee much, if you couldn't tell. And as a matter of principle, I avoid watching full episodes of anything Jubilee, both because I have no desire to contribute to their view count, and because I find these interactions incredibly tedious. They're a great way for proponents of both good and bad ideas to farm clips of epic dunks and all that, but they do nothing of substance beyond that. It's clickbait for people who think that they're above clickbait. Really, all the person you're smugly showing a Jubilee clip has to say is, yeah, that's silly, but I'm not like that person, and your argument falls flat on its face. So, to condense all of that down, I don't talk about Jubilee because while it insists otherwise, it has no impact on the real world. So, then, why am I talking about it now? Because for once in its useless existence, Jubilee actually did something kind of, maybe, in a move that honestly still impresses me. Holocaust denier and waste of air loser, who we'll call Cigarette Tar, was allegedly fired from his job following his appearance on Jubilee opposite Mehdi Hassan. During his court-mandated humiliation ritual, CT displayed a complete lack of principles and an interest in defending his endorsement of autocracy using political theory developed by the actual capital N Nazis. I'll show you a few clips here so that you can get a general idea of the kind of sludge we're dealing with. Do note that I initially intended to pull these clips directly from Tar's own tweet in which he uploaded his entire segment, but curiously, that tweet has been deleted. Just something I noticed.
I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. Quite frankly, if Trump is anti-Constitution, good, and I think he should go further.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to amend it and include
whenever
the
it's in your
Second
favor.
Amendment. Yeah, absolutely.
So can Democrats do the same when they're in office?
No, absolutely not. Because
So you don't
it's the
believe in
friend enemy.
democracy?
No, I don't. Absolutely not.
What do you believe in?
Autocracy.
Why did you vote if you don't believe in democracy and you want autocracy?
Well, because quite frankly, I voted.
This is
I kind
fascinating.
of voted just to
I came with
troll
this
a
argument, but
little
I'm
bit,
bored of my own argument. I'm much more interested in this.
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get to that state.
And then no more votes afterwards.
Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because
How do
that's
you
the
know?
whole thing.
How do
Well,
you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to kill everyone,
Carl
even their own
Schmitt makes
supporters.
this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right? You
Carl
liberals,
Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
But
And
you
so,
don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews.
I think that there was a little bit of persecution
We
and
may
stuff
have
like
to
that, which is
rename
bad.
this show
but-
because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Well, yeah, I am a General Franco supporter. He was awesome. He was so super cool, quite frankly. Because the whole
And
thing...
you don't believe in democracy.
I don't believe in
What
democracy.
are you doing here at a televised debate?
Because,
This is democracy. I want to debate and disagree.
Because it is the means to support an end. The reason we have free speech now is because we want to be openly talking about our opinions so we can get the state that we want. But it doesn't mean
This is
upholding
great.
free speech after we win.
After this embarrassing display, Cigarette Tar claimed he was fired by his employer over his political beliefs, which you may have noticed is complete horseshit. He doesn't have beliefs. You can watch him formulating these positions in real time based on what he thinks will benefit him most in the moment. You can't be fired for having something you absolutely do not have. Now, and this is admittedly only tangentially related to the contents of this video, Tar and one of his neo-Nazi buddies started a fundraiser after the claimed firing, and who decided to donate to it is very interesting. Content warning on a couple of the messages I'm going to show you moving forward. They're neo-Nazis. They don't have anything to contribute beyond transparent attempts to shock you with the things they're willing to say. Oh, but Malachi, how can you so confidently call them neo-Nazis when all they've done is watch a video of an alleged man deny the Holocaust, favorably quote Nazi theorists, and endorse autocracy, and decided to give him their money? Anyhow, I'd like to read you a message from Adolf Rapler, who says, quote, "Anyone who thinks you should have been fired deserves to be raped by N-words." 79 likes. We've got a few HH messages in here, no points for guessing what that means. A Canadian thanking Tar for standing up to malicious brown invaders. Someone taking pot shots at Anne Frank, presumably because, like most Holocaust deniers, this person's entire knowledge of the Holocaust begins and ends at one diary that they never read. But hopefully you get the idea. This is Tar's audience, and he should not be discussed without directly referencing those who follow him and express his views without his thinly veiled attempts at polishing them. So why does any of this matter? Because, despite our current political landscape, people like Tar are still capable of suffering consequences for their choices. If you publicly declare that you want an autocratic leader to murder the people you dislike, you don't get to keep your 9 to 5. which is a good thing. But that raises a question that I do think is worth discussing in a good faith setting. Where is the line? Despite what the nice give, send, go man said, I think that denying a historical genocide in service of carrying out another genocide is completely intolerable to a functional society and workplace. If you have dedicated yourself to upholding Nazism, you are not safe to work with, you can't be trusted, and no wise employer would keep you around. But there are a lot of people with messed up worldviews, some of whom often end up colloquially grouped in with people like Tar. We've all heard the saying, right? If you got a Nazi at the table and 10 other people talking with him, you've got a table with 11 Nazis. Given the fascist currently in office and the hundreds of thousands of people proudly supporting him, this country has a lot of tables with a lot of Nazis. And I don't really know how to deal with that. I mean, hell, to make it personal, I absolutely interact with people whose views I find intolerable on a semi-regular basis, and I don't always have the ethical or social leeway to challenge that every time. But I'd say it's fairly disingenuous to lump myself in with Mr. Autocracy over here. All this to say, this is a question I genuinely wrestle with on occasion. As a rule, I don't think that people should lose their jobs simply for holding bad beliefs. Those beliefs need to in some way be noticeably affecting this person's behavior for any of this to impact them in that way. In Tar's case, his Nazi beliefs motivate him to lie and fantasize about the deaths of his minority coworkers. In the case of a lot of people with terrible beliefs, though, those beliefs are more or less kept separate from their day-to-day behaviors. Don't ask me how that works. I don't much understand it myself, but that seems to be the case. And of course, I don't labor under the delusion that any of this more esoteric stuff is ever going to happen in real life. We're talking ideas here. There's never going to be a systemic push to fire all Trump supporters. It's just not going to be a thing. But at the same time, prejudice does come up in the workplace, and I don't exactly feel comfortable with the fact that this entire discussion I've created is mostly asking the question of how hard should society coddle racists and misogynists and the like, which is unfortunately how a lot of these discussions tend to go. So, unlike most videos on this channel, I'm genuinely going to pass this question off to you. I am very curious what y'all will have to say on this subject, with the obvious caveat that if you're anywhere near the cigarette tar camp, your opinion is less than worthless to me. If any of you folks have experiences with this problem, or you just want to get involved in leftist discourse for some reason, I'd love to hear it, with the full knowledge that nothing we say here will matter or change anything. But unlike Jubilee, we're not pretending that it will. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, consider becoming a patron or a member or anything of that sort if you enjoy that sort of thing. But overall, try not to be the kind of person whose firing is cause for celebration.
You have to join the Discord.
Oh my god.
Then better make it in.
Yeah, okay. I'll consider it. Oh my god. Oh my god.